It's your main man, Made Man, back at it again, and y'all know how I get down. We talking boxing. Now, I am from the old school of boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am from the school of boxing where the best fight the best. I grew up watching boxing, looking at the Tysons fight the best, looking at the Ali's fight the best, looking at the Ray Leonards fight the best, the Bowes. You know, everyone fought the best of their time. So it took me a while to catch up to today's version of boxing, you know what I mean? It took me a while to kind of get out of that mind frame. Now I'm in the mind frame of high risk, low reward, building up a fighter, and I get it. I get it now. It took a while, but I get it, all right? I perfectly get it. You know, I'm from the era where the boxers controlled the sport, you know, where is it like, you know, the advisors, the promotional companies and all of that stuff, they worked for the fighter. In today's era, the fighter works for them, you know what I mean? So they dictate to the fighter how things go. When there was a point in time when boxers dictated their own career. So now I understand, all right? I fucking get it. Amir King Khan, 30 wins, 3 losses, 19 knockouts, ladies and gentlemen. Amir King Khan is calling out everyone. Everybody with a name, that is. Anyone with popularity, anybody he can kind of maybe capitalize on, take his career to the next level, which at this point in his career is very understandable. So, you know, he's at that point where he's calling out all the big names. Now, I'm sitting here and I'm wondering, given by Amir Khan's last rant, in which we all know he's calling out everybody, Marquez, Bradley, Mayweather, Pacquiao, Cotto, whoever has a name, Canelo, whatever. Whoever has a name, Khan wants you in the ring. But the thing you got to understand is that Khan is now wanting to go to the party, but he has nobody to dance with, man. You know, all the pondering that Amir Khan has tried to do, being so microscopic with his next moves and everything, trying to make his next move his best move, and he's been kind of shooting himself in the foot with, honestly, a lot of his moves. We can take this back to, September 2013, when he attempted to get the fight with Mayweather, and we see what happened, all this posturing and pondering, and he lost it, and he passed up on a title fight with Devin Alexander, in which Kell Brook went on and win. Now, the thing is that at that fight, you know, Amir Khan, trying to make his next move his best move, went on and signed on the dotted line for a contract to hope to get the fight with Mayweather. And just, you know, it was one of those things where he signed and just had to wait for Mayweather's signature if Mayweather chose him, which we all know he didn't. He chose Marcos Maidana instead. But the thing is, he signed himself and he was committed to that. And then he didn't get the fight and he had to settle for a second-rated fighter on the undercard, you know what I mean? So it was on Mayweather and Madonna's undercard, but he had to settle for that fight. And the fact is, he passed up on a title fight with Devin Alexander. He would have been a more prominent guy now. And, you know, right now it's just, you know, my thing is this. I want to see the fight between Amir Khan and Floyd Mayweather. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think Khan really got something in store for Floyd Mayweather. But you're looking at it from a business standpoint. Say, you know, we all know the Al Heyman way, high risk, no reward. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. That's Al Heyman's way, you know what I mean? So you ask yourself, Amir Khan, what does he do? What? How many pay-per-views is he really going to bring in? You know what I mean? This is what they're going to look at. Amir Khan, if he does fight Floyd, let's give or take 800,000, maybe 900,000. I really don't have it topping $1 million. I don't. Everyone goes by Khan's following and all these other things, but you look in Khan's past, he's never made record-breaking or high-level numbers, you know what I mean? So, and we all know the system in the UK, where is it, they don't even pay for a lot of pay-per-view fights. They get them a lot free if they subscribe to certain networks or whatnot. So, you know, the money wouldn't make, the dollars would not be there, ladies and gentlemen. We know Floyd averages roughly 800,000 to a million pay-per-view buys per fight. We don't know if he brings them numbers in with Khan. Then on top of that, this is a very risky fight for, say, Floyd Mayweather, and this is a great possibility that he may lose to Amir Khan. Stylistically, ladies and gentlemen. Stylistically. I emphasize that word. Stylistically, I think Mayweather is honestly at a disadvantage when it comes to Amir Khan. The 37-year-old Mayweather is at a disadvantage when it comes to Amir Khan. And they know this. They know this in that camp. High risk, low reward. If Floyd beats Khan, he's supposed to beat Khan, right? No big deal. Stephen A. Smith said we don't want to see it. You know what I mean? There will be all kind of cause of that. If he loses to Khan, what the fuck? The world will be going crazy. You see where I'm going? So I just don't think that fight at this present time is realistically. They claim now that Khan is the plan B, say for Mayweather and Pacquiao. He's met with both camps from what I understand. But I just don't see it possible. I think it's all a big fucking hoax, you know what I'm saying? Me, honestly, personally, because Khan has a humongous following. So if you're shown in public with Amir Khan, all of Khan's Twitter followers, all the Muslims, the Pakistanis, all the constituencies pay attention to whoever is with Amir Khan. So it's always good to do public appearances and things like that with a popular guy such as Amir Khan, you know what I mean? So, but the thing is this. Now, like I said before, Amir Khan is calling out what? Marquez, Bradley, Pacquiao, Mayweather, all the top rated guys, right? Now, the problem is, like I said earlier, he has no one to dance with. Amir Khan, trying to make his next move his best move, you went on and signed with Al Heyman. You have made Al Heyman your guy. Now you are doing business in the Al Heyman way. You know what I'm saying? Which means the top ranked fighters are off limits. Marquez is off limits. Bradley is off limits. Pacquiao is off limits, ladies and gentlemen. When is the last time we seen Al Heyman make a fight with the top rank? Hey, I hear this sporadic. I can go through the history of it, but I don't feel like thinking. It's rare. It's rare. It's fucking rare. You know what I mean? It's rare than oil in your backyard. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's fucking rare. You know what I mean? So we don't see that happening. So the possibilities are very slim that he gets one of those big name fights. And then you look at, okay, let's go to the Heyman fighters that have popularity in their name, that are pretty known fighters, such as Keith Thurman. He's booked up. He has a upcoming fight with Robert Guerrero. Devin Alexander was already defeated in Amir Khan's last fight. Pac and May are still having negotiations going on. Kell Brook is scheduled to fight Jojo Dan for an IBF mandatory defense, in which he's also coming off an injury, so he's not going to be in a rush to get in the ring with Khan. Now, that is the name that is possibly... Brook has been calling out Amir Khan. I don't know why he didn't accept Brook's fights. He's been calling out Khan. He wants Khan. It's already well known. He's world champion now. I didn't know why Khan didn't. I heard that Eddie Hearn, who's Brook's manager, advisor, whatever, he has spoken with Al Heyman about the fight, but judging by the articles and things, Al Heyman is not in a hurry to make the Amir Khan and Floyd Mayweather fight, or making Amir Khan and Kell Brook fight, you know what I mean? So, it's just not happening. He wants to build Khan up. It's the Al Heyman way. He has to build him up to a level where we know that he can capitalize off those constituencies of Amir Khan. And at this present time, he can't. He may be big over there, UK fans, but in America, Khan is not nearly as big as he think he is. You know what I mean? So that's just being quite honest with you. But people do know Amir Khan. Don't get me wrong. More than the average casual guy knows Amir Khan. So that's kind of good. You know what I mean? But the fact still remains, a lot of the fights are already taken care of. Like I said before, Thurman is fighting Guerrero, Pac is fighting May, Brook is fighting Jojo Dan, Devin Alexander has already been fought. Now, we have to be very peculiar when it comes to Amir Khan. They have to be of notoriety. They have to be of a certain, popularity. Khan is not looking to fight any British fighters. He's not calling out any of the British guys at welterweight, you know what I mean? We know Khan only has 2 fights under his belt at welterweight, in which he fought 2 C-level fighters at welterweight. Well, Devin Alexander was a good fighter. I'm not going to sit here and shit on Devin Alexander by far. That was a great win for Amir Khan. I would never take that away from him. But coming off that Khan fight, he wants to go, the second fight. I mean, coming off that Devin Alexander, that was his second fight at 147. Now you're saying you were willing to take on Cotto at 155? Come on, man. Desperation is never attractive. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is this, so Khan wants the big fight. But yet there is no one now left to fight. Give me a name. Marcos Maidana. Some may say Marcos Maidana is there. He has defeated Marcos Maidana already. But some people say that fight was very close towards the end, and wouldn't mind paying for a rematch. I just don't think Khan will be in it. It's not the Al Heyman way. It's high risk, no reward, ladies and gentlemen. So we must keep these things in mind when we are talking about Heyman fighters. I am getting into that mind frame, ladies and gentlemen. I really am. But Khan is in a very good position, though. I got to admit, he is in a good position in his career. He's the #1 contender to the WBC title that Floyd Mayweather holds at 147. He's the #2 contender to Floyd Mayweather's WBA title at 147. So it's kind of interesting. You know what I mean? It's very, very, very much interesting to see the next move, say, for Amir Khan. But, of course, everyone wants to see the Kell Brook fight. Money's been put up. Stadium has been there. everyone wants to see that fight. We'll see if he pivots there. I don't know if Kell Brooks wins his next victory against Joe. And that's another thing. I'm sorry to jump all over, but why is Khan so fixated on May? You know, evidently he's calling out the month of May. We know May, the Cinco de Mayo. Is he trying to put the fight on Mayweather's? If the Mayweather and Pacquiao fight happens, is he trying to get it on that undercard, or is he trying to get his own event? But why is May got to be the key month? This is what I'm lost at. Putting his wanting to fight in May, all those fights we named, takes it off the table. There were talks at one time for Thurman and say a Thurman and Khan fight, in which we thought was going to happen until we seen them together on HBO, being like the two peas in a pod and shit. All that shit that they were talking went out the window. We should have knew then this fight ain't happening. You know what I mean? When they were on the same fucking stage together, getting interviewed, and neither one of them talked shit towards each other. They had like the utmost respect for each other. So we knew then that the fight was not going to happen. So once again, who is Amir Khan going to fight that fits the Amir Khan, Al Heyman mold? I'm not saying that there's nobody. Maybe there are people that I'm not mentioning. Put them in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. I've asked you, you know what I mean? So I'm asking who? Marcos Maidon is the only one that I can think of. We know Danny Garcia has the fight with Lamont Peterson. He still fights at the 140 division, though he's slowly, gradually moving up to 147. He hasn't gotten there yet. Now, Khan's only 2 fights into 147, so fighting at a catch weight of, say, 144 or 145 would not probably be a problem for an Amir Khan, especially to redeem himself against Danny Garcia. But once again, Danny Garcia is an Al Heyman fighter, and to Al Heyman, it wouldn't make sense for Danny Garcia to get right back in the ring with an Amir Khan. So we'll see how this goes, you know what I mean? But it's, you know, I'm getting used to this new way of boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really getting used to it. So it's going to be interesting to see the next move that Khan makes. Put it in the comment section. What do you guys think? I just think he's now has no one to dance with. He's pondered so long. He's waited around so long. And now all the popular guys already have fights booked up. He's sitting back, just hoping for somebody to blow his way. I would honestly love to see those fights, though. Don't get it twisted. Marquez, Bradley, Mayo Pack, it doesn't matter. Cotto, if Khan can make the weight, I wouldn't mind seeing that fight. You know what I mean? Those are all good fights, but we got to be realistic in today's boxing. So that is how I see things as far as Amir Khan. I'm glad the fact that he is calling out fighters, and I am glad for the fact that he is looking for contentious fights. He's not looking to be giving me hand-me-down fights. So I kind of take my hat off and I applaud Amir Khan for such. Would love to see the Kell Brook. And I'm sticking to my guns, ladies and gentlemen. I will say this. I've said it many times before, and I will end the program with this. I still think today the biggest threats to Floyd Mayweather are the 2 British fighters, Amir Khan and Kell Brook. Until Mayweather retires, I will continuously say that. To me, stylistically, those are the 2 biggest threats for Floyd Mayweather. And he has yet to even think about accepting a fight with neither. To the next video, it's your main man, Made Man. I see y'all then. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget I'm on Twitter at MadeMan511. Peace out.